So my
Awesome.
intro is pointing out that I don't have a very good intro. So
That's
that's
cool.
kind of what.
That's
Also,
cool.
you look so crisp and good color theory in your background and
Thank you.
everything. It's
Thank you.
not a green screen. Is that like a real window?
That's it. That is a real one. That is the slope of peril behind me right there.
Nice. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's good lighting. It's a good time of day, like
Oh,
er, early evening.
yeah. The gloaming or
Um
something like that. I think that's what it's called.
yeah. And so my camera, I have a decent uh digital camera, but or like webcam,
Yeah.
but I don't have enough plugs on my computer, and it was becoming too much of a hassle
Oh,
because I'd get them mixed up of which is which
right.
and which is unplugged. I'm like, I
Mm,
need the printer. I'm like, which one's that one?
mm.
And if I just get one less, then they all just stay plugged in all the time. So I
I feel
just
like,
cut
yeah.
my
Oh,
webcam. I just threw
oh.
it. It's like it's not in the trash, but it's basically been thrown. And
Oh, yeah, oh,
then
I had a webcam. I hated the stupid extra cord, the stupid extra thing, and
yeah,
then like,
it
oh,
gets
I hated
everywhere.
that thing.
The
Yeah.
chords, yeah. But then
Oh,
I did have some regrets because I did the Miller time and it was next to
oh,
Mark Miller in HD. Emily Brooks Miller, his daughter, looked
right.
beautiful in HD, and it
Uh-huh.
was me like this.
Uh-huh.
But I saw a funny tweet. Someone was like, "Smear your webcam with Vaseline so they just can't get a read on you." And I'm like,
Right, right.
I
That's right. Yeah,
basically do
hey.
that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's off the cuff. I mean, I think you have your own pear aesthetic too, and your talent that your legend precedes you, so you can do whatever you want. Do whatever you
Yeah,
want.
yeah, it's true. But I want to tiptoe into being more and more professional. So I at least
Mhm.
have the list. I have some self-awareness to anyone asking.
Nice.
Um,
Yeah. Right. As long as you're aware of what you're doing, I think. Yeah.
yeah, like
That's
the one Nosferatu poster behind me here, like it
right. You have
looks
to.
kind
Uh-huh.
of terrible.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I need if
I.
I had more, it could be really cool. But
Yeah. I,
but the other
yeah.
day, someone was like,
Mhm.
"Oh, can I buy Nosferatu?" I'm like, "Did I just hit you with some subconscious marketing?" 'Cause
Oh, very nice. Uh-huh. It is. It is
yeah,
very subtle. Yeah.
yeah,
See,
yeah.
I have
I
a
just go like this.
yeah. Right. I have a cool
Yeah.
deer antler. See that, but like no one can ever see it. You have to like,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
in with backlit by the blue.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
It looks.
there's
It's
there
real.
could be a little connection there with Band
Hmm.
of the Crow.
Yeah. Yeah. It is kind of. You'll actually. Oh, actually, you'll see. Actually, in the second book, there in fact is a connection.
Oh, sweet, that's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
man. Is that like just your interest in your real life bleed into your fictional works,
Yeah.
or
Totally.
did you?
Totally.
Okay,
Yeah. Yeah. Like religion is important. Like I am religious. Even if I weren't, I just find it totally. Even if I don't believe in the almost, it's almost better if I don't believe in the religion. That makes it all the more interesting.
yeah. Well, I've seen on YouTube some kind of good stuff about randomly. It was about Catholics talking about Mother Mary and like because she has like lore outside of the Bible
Right.
within Catholicism, I guess. And then the lady who was talking about it, I can't remember her name right now, but she was a Catholic. But she's like, I only became Catholic because I was studying Catholicism for so long. I was like, that's a whole subgenre of
Wow.
Catholicism is like people who study it and then like, this is actually
Right.
like cool. And I don't know if that's a certain personality type where they're like,
Yeah.
well, I'm already dedicating my life to it, so I might as well
Right.
just start believing too or whatever.
Right.
But
I'll,
I
I'll be
kind of
very
like it.
yeah. I'll be very
Yeah.
upset if like there's the afterlife, and it turns out that like Scientology is the one
Yeah.
true religion. It's like what? Really?
Yeah. That
Man,
would be
I
they'd be
would.
so smug, those
Right. I know.
Scientology.
I know. Right. Right. You
Yeah.
smug sons of bitches. I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Um
I hope not.
yeah.
Or I don't know.
Uh
Like maybe like
and
Rastafarianism. I'd be okay with that. Be like, oh, okay, all right, yeah, I could
yeah.
get down with
Yeah.
that.
But it's cool like
Yeah.
you were fasting. Can we talk about that? Because we don't have to talk about it if you don't want to.
Oh yeah. No. Sure. Sure. And anything goes. Vale tudo.
Okay. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
because that was fascinating. Because you just mentioned that, yeah, you were doing that, and then that's sometimes a religious thing, or like that's sometimes with like Ash Wednesday as stuff kind
Right.
of like that. And
Right.
then, but you said I think you were fasting for like 20 days or something crazy.
19 days. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. Can you tell me a little bit about that? Like, what do you do it for? Is it Ash Wednesday, or are you even Christian? Or
No. Baha'i. It's for the Baha'i faith.
okay,
I am Baha'i. So every year it's similar to Ramadan. So I like it's just like Ramadan. It's nil by mouth from dusk till dawn. So it's not like I ate nothing for 19 days. It
Okay.
wasn't like Jesus in the wilderness. No, yeah,
Okay, gotcha,
yeah,
gotcha.
yeah.
But
It's
yeah,
just like Ramadan.
that's still hardcore though.
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, I
Yeah.
fast every Saturday too, but just to like keep my weight down.
So Bahan, that's not Christianity, not Muslim, Islam, not it's not any of those. It's like another one that I
Yeah,
haven't
that's
heard of.
right. If I had to, I don't know, like if religion is a joke, then the Baha'i faith is the punchline. That's kind
Okay.
of the way I look at it.
It's kind of obscure. It's kind of like
Yes,
it's for religious hipsters. Are you a religious
yeah, yeah.
hipster?
I guess I am, for lack of a better term. But yeah, I learned about it in college. Just every question I ever had, it had this amazing. It was like Tetris. You know that feeling when you get like the fourth thing in Tetris. It just like, oh,
Yeah.
it made everything make complete and total sense to me. It was. I never had an experience like that. Just every single question I ever had, it had this amazingly brilliant answer to every theological question I'd ever had. So I thought, well, um, uh, okay, I guess I'm a
Yeah.
behind now.
That's cool.
Yeah,
And you mention you went to Harvard? Is that true?
that is not true. That is a
Oh,
lie. It's a filthy lie.
oh, did you
I,
went to you went to Ivy League?
I did. Yeah. My brother went to Harvard.
Okay.
My brother's a PhD from Harvard. He's a sharp cookie. My brother. I went to Dartmouth.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Dartmouth is kind of like the redheaded stepchild of the Ivy League. I wouldn't, I'm not sure it was. I had some great professors. I'm not sure it's, especially now these days. My advice, where I live, actually, I live in New England, just about an hour and a half south of Dartmouth. Here's what I would do. Would be my advice to young people. This is something you can do right around here. You can go to Greenfield Community College for 2 years, transfer to UMass Amherst, and get a degree from UMass Amherst for like 5% of the cost of going to a private school.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's an issue is
Man,
colleges degrees, they cost way more than you could possibly make once you get the degree.
I just, and especially now, I think the more elite the university it is, the more entrenched and intractable the really ugly, tendentious, leftist, so-called progressive politics are. I mean, I don't know about you, but if I ever started a business or anything like, I mean, I am starting a business, but I'd have to think twice if I saw someone with a resume from an Ivy League college. I'd be like, I'd rather go to like Springfield Technical Community College or Holyoke
Yeah,
Community College or
actually that's
something like
true.
that.
That's funny. Yeah, I wonder if that's changing, like if more and more people think
I do
that
too.
because people
Hmm.
are wondering when the college bubble will burst because the
Right.
bubble's interesting is all the debt
Right.
is this huge number
Yeah.
and it's never going to be able to be repaid. So
Right.
they're like, oh, do we forgive it or do
Right.
what do we even do?
Right.
Because yeah, it costs like I don't know. It's like I wonder too. Part of it is like boomer parents forcing their kids to go to college,
Right.
paying for it anyway,
Right.
and it's just them. Like they, I don't know. It's their own fault. Let them deal with it.
No, exactly. Exactly. I don't think it's worth it anymore. I don't think it's worth it. My brother went to he is a doctor now. He's doing perfectly fine. He went to some obscure Orthodox Jewish medical school somewhere in Brooklyn somewhere. But it was
Oh,
like
cool.
10% of the cost. But it's an accredited medical school. So it doesn't matter. You have an MD after you're gonna, he got
Yeah,
an MD, he passed all the board tests or whatever. He is
yeah,
a doctor now. No one judges, oh, you went to some obscure, like,
yeah. The
no one
only
cares.
people who would care are weirdos who like did go to Harvard and they want that to be special still
Right,
or something like
right.
that.
But it doesn't
Yeah,
actually matter. There's a very interesting study about success in Ivy League degrees. It's not correlated with people who are successful or CEOs or anything. This was the biggest surprise to me going to an Ivy League school. Everyone I know, a lot of lovely people, don't get me wrong, but they all became doctors and lawyers and bankers. Doctors,
yeah,
lawyers, and bankers. They're not really, by and large, they're not really entrepreneurs. They're not really, I don't know what you want to call it.
yeah. They're kind of
Um,
just on that track, and then they're
yes,
just that
exactly.
type of.
Exactly.
But that is even like definitely not exactly the societal elite. That's a step below that even.
No,
Um,
yeah, right. Exactly. They're obviously very highly skilled people. They're like people who are good at bubble tests, people who are good at bubble tests.
yeah,
I'm good enough. I mean, I'm good enough at bubble tests to get in, but as I get older, I realize that kind of intelligence is just not the most important thing in the
Yeah.
world. Yeah. Yeah.
Real quick, we got 19 people watching. People are coming
Nice.
in. Thanks for being here, everyone who's here
Yeah.
talking with Arvid, which is great. Arvid, you're like a friend of the channel because you've been on multiple times as
I know.
chit
Thanks
chatting.
for having me.
Yeah, no problem. And sometimes we'll just chat like history and research and stuff
Yeah.
like that, which
Yeah.
sort of applies to Band of the Crow. But yeah,
That's
so
right.
one thing we'll keep an eye. Kickstarter updates automatically, so we don't
Yes.
update it, but it's at 342. I imagine a lot of the people in the chat might have already backed it, but if
Yeah.
you haven't, then please do. Just go for it. Just sight unseen, just pull the trigger. Because one thing I think it's what's the cheap $12 for the physical copy,
Right.
and then is shipping on top of that cheap too? What is the shipping?
Shipping is the one thing we cannot control for. So it just sucks. It is very expensive. I cannot control. So the shipping kind of is what it is. I'm talking to Critical Blast. I have ways of getting the shipping down for next campaign, but
Oh, cool.
especially the international shipping. I'll ship it
Yeah,
to
the
you.
international is high.
Yeah,
Everyone be prepared for that. But
and it's so hard too. Like you have to like Finland for some reason. They just didn't. Yeah, thank you, Cam. Cam, you have been just. This has been kind of an intense experience. Sort of, I don't know, canceling myself, rage quitting my career. I've met some colorful people, shall we say? I've met some great people too. You are one of them. Pear, Cam, you are one of them. I have met so many wonderful people too. So
yeah,
I really appreciate everything you do and say. It makes me feel slightly less crazed and desperate. So thank you sincerely.
yeah, I could see
Yeah.
you and Cam being like fellow travelers, kind of.
Yeah. 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 For
Yes.
sure. All of us
So
are. Yeah. So,
yeah,
yeah. Oh, so
so
let me just say
shipping is like, is it like $8 or something? I mean, that's like normal, but
the
for
domestic shipping is, I think it's $7 for book for book one, and then $8 for some of the bigger tiers. Then the
Yeah,
Canada isn't too bad, but then it just gets like, ugh. I
yeah,
just priced out the shipping. I mean, I know you know this too. It sucks. Finland, my God, they just do not like they like are like actively hostile. If you send something to
yeah,
someone in Finland, they will like
yeah.
just like send it back to you.
So something else? It like in the old days, like 2018, 2019.
Yeah,
I was thinking, I don't think the printing companies knew that this indie comics thing was like happening or going to happen.
yeah.
Because I remember the prices they were really cheap for
Okay,
printing. And now it's like kind of high. Like it's hard to
right.
find a really good deal unless you can kind of get good deals if you get a lot, like 2,000 or more,
Right.
or you can still get okay deals if you go to China, but that has its own things of like, and I don't even know now. I haven't looked in the last
Yeah.
few months with tariffs and everything.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of stuff that will be stressful with that. These unknowns.
Yeah, very stressful. Yeah, as well, we have had, I don't know about you, we have had so many printer issues. It's just like open up and like look for what's wrong when the packages come. It's just like,
Yeah, that's one of the worst feelings of what
mm,
we do is like, and if something is wrong, it's just like opening it with a sense of dread, just
right.
hoping
Yes.
that everything looks good.
Right. Exactly. The burst of cortisol just like spikes. Just thinking about it spikes my blood cortisol levels.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly.
And when you're kind of
Exactly.
waiting for the package to come, even it's not even the greatest, but yeah.
Yeah.
I think that speaking of where cortisol versus like dopamine or whatever,
Yeah.
it's day one launching and having a successful day one launch is pretty much as good as it gets.
Yeah.
Fulfilling and getting the readership, giving positive feedback is another huge.
Yeah.
So those two things, and
Yeah.
it's like 4 years of work for those 2 days. So
I know.
enjoy
know.
it.
Yeah. Right. Right. That's right. Yeah. Chew slowly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Indeed. Indeed.
But this one, it's doing
Okay.
great. And then there's like a little story behind this. I'll give you my version. You can correct me, but it's
Yeah.
you did a campaign last fall and it was at your own expense just to get word out there. Really good. I think maybe $3 for
Right.
like the hard copy, and you're shipping it out for like $1. So you're
Right.
losing money on these. And that one, we were wondering how high it'd go because you're like, why doesn't everyone just back this? It's literally $4.
Yeah.
You might as well. And I think it got pretty high, but it's not like it cracked. But you were like, well, this is part of the plan. We're just getting it out there.
Right.
Because in some ways, like that could be so successful. You're like, wait, it was almost too successful. Because
Right.
I
No,
want the one
indeed.
where I can actually make money to be the really successful.
Right. No, exactly. No, this is this is how it goes. This is marketing. You cannot give things away to people at first. We are screaming at the top of our lungs, and right, people just don't bite. Rene Girard, mimetic desire. It's a huge part of it. Is a huge part of marketing
Oh
when you're
yeah, like there'll
starting
be
out.
a or
Yeah.
go ahead, you
No,
go first,
please,
sorry.
please.
It's like a snowball kind of thing. Like if you
Exactly.
get it, you'll hit these snowball points. You've
Yeah.
hit one, and then like you could imagine you would hit kind of another, and then people start turning their heads even
Yeah.
more.
Right.
Like maybe I need on board this or
Yeah.
whatever.
Right. Yes. Exactly. It's mimetic desire. People like things that other people like. People like things that other people like. This is why, for the millionth time, this is why I think um, conventions are not a great place to go. If you have a comic book, and if it looks off brand, if it looks like off brand Avengers or something like that, the last place you want to be is next to the real Avengers. People do
Yeah,
not like off brand stuff. And not to say that someone's original superhero comic is off brand, but it can appear that way.
yeah. It's hard uh, to do superhero stuff. I haven't even tried because I'm kind of intimidated by it.
Do you have any interest in superheroes, Per?
Well, so I was thinking the Superman trailer just came out and it
Yeah.
does look good. And I'm like
Hmm.
I'm looking forward to that movie and I like Superman a lot.
Yeah.
And I was thinking like I was like Superman, he's like he will almost get into that realm of like a religious figure. He's been compared to Jesus, which is too much, I think, but
Yeah.
you can kind of say
Yeah.
like what would Superman do in a situation? And people can like I think people can really like him,
Right.
in their life. They're like, I just really, really like Superman.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he has that higher threshold than almost anyone else for some reason. Partly because he's this classic dude trying to be a good guy or whatever.
Right.
But
Right.
it's kind of fun. So I'm looking forward to another Superman movie,
Yeah.
and we'll see. I think I was thinking that one avoids the fatigue for some reason because it's different. It's not a team. It's more, although the version of the movie is still we'll see like James Gunn how he does it. If it's just another James Gunn movie or whatever,
Hmm.
it might not land as awesome as possible. But
Yeah.
it would be like if the energy of Superman takes over James Gunn a little bit more, then that would be a good thing too.
It would be nice, it's certainly possible. Yeah.
Yeah. What
Here's
about
hope.
you with superheroes? Do you read them or write them at all? Or
I think I have just come to the harsh, harsh reality that I just do not care. I
yeah,
never have,
yeah.
and I never will. I think the last
What?
superhero movie I saw was Avengers, the original Avengers. I could not tell. I could not tell you one single thing that happened in that movie. I
Yeah,
could not tell you one single thing. Oh, I do remember this. They kept coming up with like outlandish and outrageous situations for Hockey, who's the arrow guy,
yeah,
the Granger guy. They kept coming up with these like outrageous and outlandish situations so that his archery would be useful.
yeah,
There was like a port in the computer they had to hack it in, and it was just exactly like the shape of one of his arrows, so that he could like do like a hacking arrow into this computer port. I thought
yeah.
I thought that
That's
was not a good
hilarious.
move on the part of the evil masterminds. Like you made you made the data port exactly the size and shape of Hawkeye's arrows.
Yeah.
What?
They're like, wait, there's one guy who's just human. We could literally just like look at him and make his head explode. And we
Right,
forgot to do that. And
right,
now he beat us.
right, right, right.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's it means superheroes. I don't know. I thought the Arkham game, especially Arkham Asylum, that first game was great. It had great Batman feel. Um, but it's just
Yeah.
like it gets too weird for me. Like Batman just got weird. I think this is a real problem. Actually, I think this is a really, really big problem. It's like cultural. What would you call it? Almost like cultural putrefaction or something. It's probably a little too strong, but just like, why are we still doing Superman stories? Superman was it 1938?
Oh, yeah.
It's like something that's like 90 years old. In you know, when Star Wars came out, like 1977, were they still doing like Buck Rogers movies or Flash Gordon movies? No, they moved
No.
on and they were doing something else.
Yeah.
I think it's a
It
real problem. We're really
it's
hung
one of
up
the
on these
problems.
things.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because it's like if your writer gets hired, you're like, okay, I got to do something. And they're like, yeah, do something. You're like, but it can't be what we've already done. And we already did
right,
all the good stuff. So you got to do some weird crap.
right,
And you're
right.
like, okay.
No, exactly. I think stories are just like anything else. I think they're born and they live and then they die. I think Superman is just, I just don't care. It's like archaic. It's like, I don't know. It's like, cuneiform or something like
Yeah.
that to me.
There
Yeah.
there was a kind of funny superhero moment on Twitter today because someone had tweeted like it was a picture of Superman swooping in and saving someone before this rock crushes them,
Oh yeah.
but he swoops in so fast that the comment was like, "That would have broken her spine. She'd be dead." And then
Right.
someone else
Yeah.
responded like, "Well, it's just a cartoon, like, come on." And then I
Right.
responded and I was like, "Superman, you guys might not know this, but he can vibrate his muscles to reduce G-force."
Oh wow.
And
Good
I
one.
made that up,
Right. Right.
but then everyone believed me, and then it was then it was like this debate of like, okay, should we just suspend disbelief and treat it as a cartoon, or should we extend his superpowers in weird ways to make it make sense,
Right.
or just actually complain about it and
Mhm.
like whatever. But
And you know what I think the answer is? If the movie is well written, you won't even question it.
yeah,
You won't even
yeah.
question it.
Honestly, it would have been kind of cooler if they had kept that in mind, and he would have
Right.
swooped in and just kind of slowed down as he gets her, and then sped up. Like
Yeah.
that would have been
I
cool.
I think if you find yourself asking those questions, the movie probably lost you like 5 beats earlier, like 15 or 20 minutes earlier. It lost you a long time ago. If the writing is good, I think you'll put up with anything.
Yeah,
Anything. If the writing is
yeah,
not,
yeah,
it's just it becomes wearisome. You're just kind of like you just get angry at it. At least I do. I start like sort of arguing with the movie if I don't like it.
yeah. Well,
But
the
that's what I
best
try to do is figure out like where I'm sorry.
Well, just real quick, like I'm curious what you're gonna say, but the
Mhm.
best like movies or whatever, yeah, you're not thinking about them while you're watching them
Right.
for sure. Like even the
Right.
shot, if someone's like, "Oh, that's a really beautiful cinematography," like that's almost bad
Yes.
at that point. You're like,
No,
you
yes,
should not be.
exactly right. Exactly right.
Yeah,
Exactly right. Right. You don't even want to be thinking about the cinematography or whatever. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
Were you gonna say that ties into Band of the Crow a little bit, or
I
you said,
I I hope so. I hope Band of the Crow suspends disbelief. I tried really, really hard. I mean, it started as a novel. I worked really, really, really hard on the novel. Failed to get that published. That was pretty psychologically wounding. Um, I worked with another artist for 4 years on this. We had a falling out that was also very, very psychologically wounding. But then I met Oren. And honestly, Oren makes it all worthwhile. If that's the price in some cosmic sense I had to pay to meet Oren,
yeah,
gladly paid. Gladly, gladly will I.
yeah, yeah. You guys make a great team, and the animated trailer that you guys did together was so awesome too.
Yeah,
So
thank you.
everyone who that because that's on YouTube, your
Mhm.
YouTube, which I don't have the link for actually. If anyone's modded in the chat, Alex, I see you there. Could you link the Band of the Crow trailer? Because that dude, I watched that like 3 4 times because it's just on a level of like because there's things where you're like, oh, this is good for crowdfunding. This is good for da, 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 da.
Yeah,
But that is good on like as a trailer. Like it has a beat to it, and then it like cuts and it's swooping. It has the swooping. It has the font and the music,
yeah.
and I'm like, it's so good. Like,
Thank you, Perry.
yeah,
Oren and I did it. We didn't really do it for. It was like very expensive. It took 9 months of work from Oren too. Oren did a lot of heavy. It was very expensive, but he did a lot of the heavy lifting that made it a lot less. It made it just barely affordable for me.
cool.
Um, I don't think we did it for any other reason than we just sort of both looked and said we might not get a chance to do this ever again. It's the only reason
Yeah,
we did it. I just wanted to do a little animated thing with Oren.
yeah,
So yeah.
yeah. Because that's something people kind of debate is like, I haven't seen a trailer to that level, so it's the apples to oranges. But a good trailer, you're like, does it even help? Do people even watch the trailers?
Right.
And I think so. Part of what you're doing though is you are the best example yet that I've seen of like something that has the potential to break out of our bubble. That yeah, like someone randomly perusing YouTube could see that and could buy it sight unseen, not knowing any of us, just because of the quality of the trailer, which I don't
Yeah.
think anyone else has hit that level yet. I think you
Thank
might
you.
be seeing a little bit of that too because you know better than me, but the tracking on the backers, it's pretty even. It wasn't like everyone buys day one and then it slows down. It's been
Right.
going up steady for like 10 days now or
It's been great.
whatever.
It's been
Yeah,
great. The
and
trailer
that's
has
going to
blown
keep
up. Yeah.
happening. Like
Right.
so, who knows what? But it could. And then we mentioned too out there. There's like that second potential snowball kind of thing if it goes even higher.
No,
Yeah.
indeed. The trailer has just blown away all my expectations. It has blown. Oren and I both just are just kind of like looking at the number of views, and on our channel and just sort of sitting there slack-jawed. It's been amazing. It's been very, very gratifying. It feels
Cool.
like we're on the right track. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
actually, that was a great idea. Now, it's funny, I didn't even think of it till just now. Is you posted it on YouTube
Mhm.
instead of the campaign page
Right.
because that will bring in more backers from YouTube
Right.
if they see it. If it's a fully animated trailer, yeah, that's awesome.
Right. That and
What is the views for that at?
we're at like 150,000 views
Oh, that's
on it
so
now.
cool. It
It's
deserves that, yeah, because
Thank you.
that's you hope that YouTube would do that. The algorithm would reward 9 months of work and a lot of money or whatever.
Yeah, indeed. And it doesn't just it's been grueling. I mean, the marketing and the publicity is just like, uh,
Yeah.
so yeah.
Because that's part of
Thanks.
it too, is you like so if you just add up all the stuff you've done, it's sort of like you've done everything in one sense.
Yeah, yeah,
And then but things that people don't like just behind the scenes of like building it up for months and months and months, building up a big mailing list,
right,
letting people know about the launch, having the
right.
great trailer, having literal pre-campaign launch campaign preview thing last fall.
Yeah,
Um, and yeah, so now we're kind of seeing the fruits of that. And I think one of the things that's played out is it is this situation now where it is just steadily going up.
yeah,
So who knows where it'll end up? But and this is just the first Band of the Crow. So you'll be able to build from here. You know, you're kind of in a situation where like this is how Common America started. So
right.
like you
Indeed. I really admire the iconic guys. They do a lot of things right. I think that they are very smart. I think that they're very very disciplined. I think they've got an amazing work ethic and they're really inspiring to me. It is amazing to see what they've done. They don't have big names, they're not big industry players or anything like, but it's just like going to community college or like going to some weird Orthodox Jewish medical school in Brooklyn. So what? Who cares? I think it's just amazing what they've done. I find it very inspiring. Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, they built it up to six figures and it'll keep going up from there,
Right.
you know. But
Right. Right.
um
God
yeah,
bless them. I
that
think it's great. I think it's great. It's
yeah.
very inspiring. Yeah. You know who else inspires me, Per?
Who?
You do, sir.
Ah,
You do.
shucks.
I had actually. I'm dying to talk to you. If I could, switch this around and become the interviewer because I think you are doing just amazing things too. And Per, you're one of those people. The book you're launching. I forgot the name. The book Per presents.
Oh yeah, I have that here too, so we
Nice
can look at it.
disintegration.
Yeah.
Right. I just want to say, who does this, Per? What an amazingly wonderful thing to do. For Disintegration Street. You're just one of the most amazingly humble, truly genuine and authentic people I have met in a long time.
Thanks.
I think you are prodigiously talented. I don't think you're even aware of how talented you're. Oren's kind of like that. Like, I don't think Oren knows, like, when he starts, people are like terrified of him
Yeah.
in Malaysia. He's like Obi-Wan Kenobi in Malaysia. People are like,
Yeah. No, Oren could get kind of famous, you know. Who knows? Like his
yes,
style is what do you call it? It's iconic. So, yeah.
that's what I say. Like, they're going to come for you at some point in time. And like, please, like, if that's a better bet for you, please go. Nothing would make me happier. But same to you, Per. I'm so happy that you're doing this piece with Mark Miller. I cannot even begin to tell you how impressed I am with your writing. You
Oh,
are
thanks.
like such a good writer. It's just, and it's even more, in my opinion, it's even more rare than someone who's has like artistic talent. That's pretty rare, but someone who can actually write, I think Earthbound is just absolutely brilliant.
Oh,
Absolutely
cool.
brilliant.
Thanks. Yeah, that's awesome to hear from you because I consider you, yeah, like one of, if not the best kind of writer in the scene, really. So,
Uh,
um,
go on. I mean,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
no.
Oh, it's what we said we wouldn't do. We said we
Right.
weren't
I
going to
know
do that.
exactly, exactly. No, and then also Grand Prix, the switch from Grand Prix is such a beautiful switch in tone and genre. I mean, I just can't think of very many people that are able to pull it off. I think Grand Prix is just awesome. Just
Thanks.
awesome.
I remember people saying they're like, because they're reading Earthbound, they're like, how is he going to write Grand Prix? Because it won't be able to have the groundedness of part one takes place in a high
Right.
school. And I was thinking like, oh, I got a plan. Like you
Right.
guys, it's going to
Right.
work. That one too is it's one of those things where like, I can't wait to get issue like 3 and 4 and 5 out
Yeah.
But I gotta wait. It just takes time. But there's things coming up that are a lot of fun that people
Yeah.
will
No,
enjoy.
I love it. In Grand Prix, you just sort of like threw the grounding out the window. It's just beautiful. You just sort of said, "No, okay, I don't care about that anymore."
Yeah,
But
you
somehow,
did,
but because it's well written, grounding isn't about setting it in high school or having like that's just not what
yeah,
grounding means. Grounding a story, it is still grounded because everyone is believable and everything is relatable. That's what
y-
grounding is. Yeah.
yeah. You still have kind of like the just human characters. You're following the human
Right.
emotions and stuff.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Just
for th-
awesome.
for that one, I don't know what like which like subgenre this kind of falls into, but for that one, I'm really into the like the the way the rings work and the reincarnation system that
Right.
I kind of made up.
Right.
When we were talking about magical systems, and so I think that is called a hard system because there's kind of rules to it.
Right.
And then within the rules, you can't exactly break them, but you can play with them, have them apply in ways unforeseen
Right.
that make the story interesting and play up dramatic irony
Right.
at times. Like it's more tragic if someone, yeah, whether or not they have a ring when they die, quote unquote, like all that kind of stuff can play. So that was like a big part of the story. And Earthbound One was a little bit like that too. It's like
Hmm.
come up with a hard magic system, which is in that case it's the mind control guns, and
Right.
then that's the story. Just play with that, have fun with that, and then
No, it's great because there's such sort of brute force narrative tactics. There's just something so sort of ruthless and merciless about what you like with the rings or the guns. And in anyone else's hands, it would be too much power, but you just use it so effectively. It is so funny and so fun. I love the rings and the mind control guns. I just think it's great.
yeah,
Yeah.
the rings, they're kind of like an economy because they're super
Yeah.
valuable. So that is kind of established. But I play with that even like if you could imagine if there were hypothetically a situation where there were suddenly like a, a 10,000 rings or whatever
Right.
get introduced, then all of a sudden their value goes way down, and then everything of the whole system of the culture goes out the window. And like so that's like a fun, weird twist to
No, it'd be very
storytelling too.
interesting. Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
I love following on Twitter all of your observations about like bubble villages. I thought, oh, what's a bubble village? And then
Oh yeah.
you
Yeah,
explained
because
it.
so you mentioned
Yeah. Yeah.
Strange
Strange
Haven.
Haven. Yeah.
Yeah. And I wonder if can I make this full screen? Yeah.
Mm,
I saw a YouTube video on this once,
yeah.
randomly. A
Uh-huh.
cool channel was talking about it. I don't know if you were gonna say that too, but
No, no, I just
oh, you
I
have it there.
yeah, right
Oh, dude,
there. Yeah.
let me make you big real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things about Strange Haven, about comics in general, I don't know, like even like Jim Davis and Garfield is like this. Those early Garfield comics were rough, but man, he is like a freaking Jedi now. The art in the early Strange Haven is pretty. Is this the first one? Yeah, I think it is. Um,
Is it like rotoscoped kind of or
he obviously does it. He traces photos, obviously.
yeah.
The art is pretty rough in the first one. Um, yeah.
Oh yeah. That's
You can
cool
see
though. Yeah.
it's I mean, it's wonky, but that's what's great about comics. He just doesn't care. And then by the time he's done with it, um, I think this is the third one. Yeah, here, check out the improvement in the art.
Oh yeah. And by the way, those books that you're holding they cost like $500 each or something.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh
The art
wow,
is
that's
just so much better.
yeah,
I mean, it's
that's
just you
amazing.
can almost see like page by page, you can almost see him improving
Yeah.
the
So
art.
this is
Yeah.
one, yeah, they say it's out of print and there you can check out this digital copy. So I might try this and see if this will work
Yeah.
through archive.org. But
Yeah.
yeah, but that so yeah, because I randomly tweeted sometimes I'll do trope of the day or subgenre of
Mhm.
the day, which sometimes they overlap. Like a
Yeah.
weird trope could become a subgenre or whatever. But
Right.
and so it was the Bubble Town, kind of related because it was a chance to plug Disintegration Street. And
Yeah.
then when you think that, you're like, there are kind of a lot of stories like that.
Yeah, that's it's true. It's true.
Yeah, and
Grand Prix is like that. There's like I can think I wouldn't know what the maybe we can come up with any more. There's a book Rendezvous with Rama. I don't know if you've read
yeah.
that. It's awesome. Arthur C. Clarke, one of my favorite science. It's a great science fiction novel.
What? That
Um,
sounds awesome, though. Actually, I want to read that.
it's really good. Beyond the Blue Event Horizon, but it's just people who are coming to contact. I don't know what you call it. There's like an alien spaceship that's incredibly ancient the technology is way beyond what the human beings at the time, the human beings that are spacefaring usually, but it's just way beyond what anyone knows. I don't know. What would be the name for that genre?
Yeah, I don't know, but it's like that this sci-fi version of this or whatever.
Right.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
No, it is. It is a little bit like a bubble town. Yeah.
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 Jeremy Lott says coming back to Beham. Not anytime soon, Jeremy. If I do make it, I'll hit you up though. That'd be sweet. Probably maybe in the next year or so.
Nice.
John's Longbox. Can't wait for Band of Crows.
Thank you, John. I appreciate it. I
Yeah.
appreciate it. Thank you for backing. Sincerely appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, you dropped Strange Haven as that was your kind of like example. And I was like, oh yeah, I've
Yeah.
heard about that one.
Yeah.
And it is kind of a little famous just because it's not in print, hard to find. Everything I hear about it sounds great. It sounds a lot like Disintegration Street when you describe that of like it's a town, everyone is weird in the town, and you can't leave the town.
Yeah. Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Like The Prisoner, one of my favorite TV.
Yeah. Everyone
shows.
loves that. I haven't seen it, but everyone says that's the best TV show.
Oh,
of
it's
all
great.
time.
It's
Oh,
literally a bubble town in that case. It
Yeah,
is literally.
yeah, yeah.
You'll see what I mean. There's a literal bubble.
Yeah, that's cool. I know. I was like, would Truman Show count? Because in a way, yes, it's a bubble town.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like that one is almost even more of a like it's a more like the Matrix.
Yeah.
I don't know if you call the Matrix a bubble town.
Right. No, indeed. I was working at the film production company that made the Truman Show. I was interning while that was being made. That was an interesting experience.
Nice. Was that in New York?
It was in New York. Scott Rudin
Cool.
Productions. The original script for Truman Show was much darker. It was like set in like a hive city. It was much darker.
Oh, that's funny.
Mhm.
Oh, people were mentioning Dark City about bubble towns. Do you remember?
Oh
that one?
yeah.
Yeah. That one is
think-
fun.
Who
Yeah.
did that? Is that the Junet brothers? Les Frères Junet?
I don't know if they
Junet brothers?
or did they act or they writers. I know it's Alex Proyas, I think, is the director.
Oh, okay.
He did The Crow. and then
Oh,
he did
really?
Dark City.
Okay. Alex Proyas. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Oh, I'm thinking of City of Lost Children. That's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
That's Les Frères Junet. Mhm.
Yeah, that's the French dudes. He did Delicatessen and Amélie.
Right. Right.
Lost
I
Children.
find their stuff to be a little mannered and affected. I try to like it, but it's like it's trying too hard or something like that.
Yeah, it's like early Wes Anderson. There's a new Wes Anderson coming out.
Yes, exactly. Oh, it's like nails on a blackboard to me. It's like precious. It's sort of wimpy and precious or something like that.
I always don't know how I feel because he didn't double down, he didn't triple down, he like a billion downed on his
Right.
style, and now he's like 30 years into his career. It's become an imitation of an imitation of an imitation,
Right.
and he's about to
Right.
do triple that. He's double downing in that way too, and I'm like, I almost want to see the new movie just to see like what's even happening.
How low can you go, sir? How low?
Yeah.
This is, I think, a problem a lot of indie filmmakers had in the 1990s. Who are some of them? Like Todd Solondz or Neil LaBute or who's some other ones? But Harmony Korine, they almost got trapped. It's almost like an early version of audience capture, but it's almost like auteur capture where they just kept making the same movie over and over again.
Yeah.
And you realize it wasn't really brilliant. It was actually just sort of gimmicky at the end of the day. It was kind of sad.
Yeah, they have a breakout success, and then that kind of puts them in prison. You're right. It's a lot like audience capture.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's actually why being unsuccessful can be a great thing.
That's right. That's right.
Until a certain point, then you want success.
But no, I admire people like, I don't know, Stanley Kubrick always challenged himself. Ingmar Bergman always challenged himself. He did this amazing horror movie called Vargthemen. It's amazing. It's a very good horror movie. And it is a straight up horror movie. It's not,
it's not artsy fartsy.
Not
like
at
what's
all.
the one he did? Persona. That's the reading of that as a vampire movie. I don't think it's super subtle. I think it's there. But I thought that was cool. But I did think that movie was a little boring. But it was awesome though.
I mean, speaking as a Scandinavian, yeah.
It's like it is a vampire movie.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Paul
Jim Jarmusch. Yeah,
says
Paul
they get
mentioned Jim Jarmusch. Yeah, exactly. That is a perfect example of that. He just like keeps making the same movie over and over again. Yeah.
He did a zombie movie, and it was the movie I've hated the single most in the last couple of years.
Really?
It
Wow.
had Bill Murray, and it had a good title. but I
What was the
forget.
title?
Is it called The Dead Don't Die? I can't remember.
Okay.
But it was yeah, it was like it was the worst piece of shit I've ever seen. And
You
Bill
know,
Murray didn't do crap in it.
okay.
Adam Driver's in it. He didn't do crap in it. And
I
then
have never
everyone
seen
dies.
a movie with Adam Driver that I've liked. It's like if he's in a movie, he's like it's like the kiss of death. Man.
Yeah, he wants to work with auteurs, and that's like not working for him, kind of,
Right. No, totally. Totally.
because I don't know.
Yeah.
There
Another
aren't that
example
many.
that is Neil LaBute. He did this movie In the Company of Men, which I didn't like. It's just it's too dark and too brutal. It's just like it's the opposite of something that's like too saccharine and sweet. It's just kind of like,
Mhm.
okay, you're just gonna write a ruthless, you're gonna like shock me and horrify me, whatever. And it's not. You just sort of find yourself tuning out. But same thing. He tried to do a horror movie. They did a remake of The Wicker Man,
Oh
which
yeah,
is that's kind of a bubble town actually. Wicker Man
totally.
is kind of a
That came
bubble
up when
town.
we were talking about it,
Yeah.
and yeah, and
Yeah.
that could count.
Anyway, he did
Yeah,
a remake of that, and it was Nicolas Cage. I didn't see it, but I don't think he's made a movie since then, or I don't know, maybe he has, but yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, a lot of the bubble town, one of the things is like a type of paranoia because I guess there's like multiple ways that you can be paranoid, but one
hmm
of them is like everyone's in on it but me, and you're like looking around like why do they all know and I
right,
don't know? What do they know? And that's
right,
like Wicker Man for sure. It's like
yeah,
that.
yeah. I love
Yeah.
that soundtrack. I put that on like late August, early September. I love that soundtrack. Oh,
Yeah. Oh yeah, it is great. Oh, you know, speaking of that type of paranoia, there's a Hitchcock movie called The Lady Vanishes. Have you seen
yeah,
that one? Yeah.
I have. That's a
And I
great one.
remember thinking like, all right, because it's like a similar thing. Like everyone on the train is in on something except
Right,
one person who's the main
right,
character. So there's this paranoia, and it's that this person who he knows existed, they all claim didn't exist, but they're
right,
gone now. And it's not like a ghost story or whatever. And
right,
you're kind of like, okay, how would you even explain that though? Like
right.
that's a really fun like setup. Like you know that J.J. Abrams style, like that would be episode one, and then like when it becomes time to explain it, he's just like everyone
Uh,
is in a sky. They exist in a sky.
uh,
They're I don't know.
right.
They're
Or he
just in a
just
dream.
ignores it and comes up with an. Yeah, J.J. Abrams is a fraud. I really do
Yeah,
not like him.
because that bubble thing is like Lost is actually like that. But you got to explain it good, or at least like kind of honestly.
No,
Like
indeed. Indeed.
yeah,
Twin Peaks. I think that's it. Twin Peaks has a beautiful, it means something in the end. David Lynch was trying to say something, and he did actually say something in the end. I think Twin Peaks is one of the most brilliant resolutions of the bubble town
yeah.
mystery. It is so well done. It's so well
And
done.
is Strange Haven heavily inspired by Twin Peaks?
I believe so. I think so. Yeah. It's
Is
like
there
an
a
English
murder
Twin Peaks.
mystery in Strange Haven? Kind
Is
of.
there a murder mystery? Is anyone murdered? I'd have to reread it, honestly.
Yeah.
I have to read it. It's funny. One of them is kind of by my. It's really faded. One of them. I don't know if you can tell, but like this used to be green. I just have it sitting on my that there used to be like green. Now it's kind of bluish because
Oh
it's
yeah.
just like ultraviolet light. Yeah. Yeah. I know these are prized possessions. Yeah. I one of the few comics I
How did you like track that as it was happening, or like how did you track those down or
it's
hear
one of the
about the true
beauties of
story?
kind of having your finger on the pulse of things. I mean, I remember when Black Hole was coming out.
Yeah.
I'm not as keen on Charles Burns as I used to be. I do think Black Hole is pretty brilliant. But I
Yeah.
remember just being excited about that. I've always liked this stuff. I mean,
Is Black Hole 90s too? I've read that one, but I kind of barely remember it. But yeah.
yeah, it's like zeros and 90s. It's very good.
Cool.
It is very, very dark. Yeah, Charles Burns again. It's a little affected and it's a little dark. He's kind of a
It's a little bit of that thing we were talking about earlier, like audience captured early on to be artsy fartsy or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
He's
yeah.
it's got the Jim Jarmusch a
Right.
little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah.
Mhm.
So real quick, we'll do a check-in on Band of the Crow guys.
Okay.
21 people watching, everyone who's watching.
Thank you, everyone. Actually,
Just
you know what helps? If you go and like leave a comment, if you wouldn't mind, that does help juice the algorithm if people make comments on the oh hey, someone back. That is just awesome. Thank you.
hey,
Thank
nice.
you.
You know,
And
it was
oh yeah, sorry, please. Sure.
it's called the Narwhal Nuge. It's a wrestling
Ah,
move. If
nice.
but because
Ah,
I'm
excellent.
now the artist formerly known as Narwhal,
Right.
I don't know what to call it. It's like I can't call it the Pooge.
Right.
because that sounds too
Right,
ridiculous.
right. Yeah. No
So I
thanks.
don't even know what
I'm
it's called,
married,
but
narwhal. Yeah.
yeah, it's
Uh,
some little boost that I help with
it's
if you know
awesome.
the chance.
The pear pump. Yeah.
Yeah, the pear pump. I mean,
Awesome,
that's
Alex.
fine. We don't mind if it
Mhm.
has some innuendos.
Yeah.
That's kind of
But
fun.
no, it is
That's
great.
fine.
Like, I'm not selling these at this price. It truly is like, I'm not kidding when I say this is a great deal. Prices are going up. Get in now, please.
Yeah,
It is
yeah. It's
mathematically
literally
possible.
$12 for the
Right.
first trade here, and this is the cheapest, like all crowdfunding kind of.
Right.
So
It is
$12
mathematically
for that.
possible for me to turn a profit on this um,
Yeah,
campaign. So
yeah,
that's a new experience for me. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and this is when it's going to build on the second. Oh, that's a question I have is how when do can we expect issue two crowdfund? Is it like one every year or when is that
I'm
one?
hoping we can get one done every year. It is, we had, we had a lot more time built up and then we decided to do that. Oh, Salty, what is up? Oh, thank you, Salty. God bless you. I love your book too, my friend. Talk to me. I'd love to come on your, call me. I'd love to come on. I know we're going to like come on your stream. That'd be great. We had a lot more lead time and then 9 months, we took 9 months off to do that animated trailer, which is worth it. But we're about 10 pages into the next
Cool.
album. It's about the same thing. It'll be about 50 pages, maybe a little bit more than
Yeah,
that. So
that's a good way to pitch it is as albums because it is more European.
yeah,
And that means, yeah, like that 50 to 60 page range, full color.
right,
Orin does everything. Yeah.
right, right. That's what I love. I mean, that's my favorite format. It's one of the nicest things about doing this myself is I'm just not beholden to anybody. I've never liked the size of American comics. I've never
Yeah.
liked the size of manga. I've actually never liked the size of bande dessinée either. I feel like I was able to come up with a format that I really like that I think is optimal for comics. And yeah, it's this kind of oversized album format. So yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. How many? Well, what I got a couple of questions. So, if it was a novel first, was
Mm.
that process of turning the novel into a comic series, was that interesting? Because I know you wrote a comic series before the novel. Had you written an unknown novel like when you first started writing? Were you in high school and were you writing comics or novels or both or short stories? So that's one question.
Mhm. Yeah. I wanted to do I did a lot of film internships
Yeah.
in college, and I really thought I wanted to be a filmmaker, but I got it was intense being man, that was the summer I worked at Scott Rudin Productions with the Truman Show. And then I spent the other half of that summer. It's the total opposite with this, like these like interning for these like indie filmmakers in the Tribeca Film Center. So it was an intense summer, and I realized very quickly that I didn't want to be a filmmaker. It's too expensive. I saw so many people, really, really talented people too, just suffering,
Yeah. It's
suffering.
weird the level that filmmaking is what do they call it? It's like collaborative, but in like a mimetic way, like a
Yeah,
negative way, kind of rather
yeah,
than in a
yeah.
good way a lot of times.
No, and it's sort of sympathetic to someone like Jim Jarmusch. It's just like, yeah, like you struggle so much and you like have a hit. Like, I'd want to follow up on it with something similar too. You kind of can't blame him.
Yeah,
You
it
can't
might
blame him.
not be his fault that I hated
Right.
that
It's
zombie
hard. It's
movie.
hard. I think he's just under a lot of it's stressful. There's a lot of pressure. But basically comics. Oh yeah, this is what happened. I wanted to be in a band in college. I was all ready to do it. My roommate was an amazing guitarist. He was from Panama. He was from South America. Half of our songs were in Spanish. We were both sort of like vibing on the same things, like reggae music and punk rock. And for some reason, he decided his musical career didn't involve me anymore. So that was pretty painful. I was sort of kicked out of the band, and it's sad because I thought we had something really, really good going. I was the vocalist, he was the guitarist. I thought we were doing something good, but alas. So I fell in with a new group of people, and we made a comic book in college. It was just the coolest thing. This guy, Billy Kay, I'll never forget. He said, like, we could make a comic together and we could get the university to pay for it. We could get the college to pay for it. We could become an
Yeah.
official student group.
So you were like nursing an injury of rejection, creative
Right.
rejection from one
Right.
art form, and then fell into the arms of comics.
Yeah, it was so much fun. See, we had to share with the humor magazine, which wasn't very humorous, but we had this like passive aggressive warfare between us and the humor magazine. They were
Cool.
terrified of us. They were terrified. Um,
Y-
yeah.
That's
Anyway,
a fun
yeah.
start. Yeah. So
Yeah, it was
then,
great, right? Just like staying up until like 3 in the morning and like, those Arizona iced teas, they're just like pure glucose. It is just like you
yeah,
don't even need a can. It's just like gelatinated glucose. So we would like drink these Arizona iced teas and stay up until 4 in the morning, like making
that's good. You
comics and
had
stuff.
some of that. That's like the romantic anecdotes that all the old pros have of
Yeah,
like, yeah, like staying up and working on something or getting drinks after or whatever.
yeah.
And
It
I'm
was
like,
so
there
much
isn't
fun.
as much of that these
I
days, and
know.
I'm
I
I'm like
know.
bummed about that.
It was kind of like a little bullpen or something like that. And Billy Kay, my friend, actually drew a story that I wrote. We got to play. It was not very good. The whole thing was just crude and embarrassing. I still have a copy somewhere. Um, but then we were all about to graduate, and he said, we don't have to stop. We could keep doing this. We could all move to New York City and start a comic book publishing empire together. Why should
Yeah.
we stop? So that's what we did. We all moved to New York City together, and which was a total disaster. I think I'm the only one still writing comics out of all of them. But yeah,
Cool.
yeah,
That's a good little I don't know, feather in your cap though to be the survivor.
yeah. That's right. I am the lone survivor. I am the lone survivor. So yeah, yeah. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of how I got started.
Cool.
I was working on a movie. I was working on there's a literary magazine called the Paris Review. It's an English language literary magazine, but it was based in Paris in the 1950s. It's like one of these. It is like famous. Allen Ginsberg got his start there. A lot of famous writers got their start in the Paris Review. So I was working. It was that summer after college. I moved into Brooklyn, and I was working on a documentary for the Paris Review. So there I was in Paris, and there were all these beautiful buildings like the Louvre or the Saint-Sulpice or it's Notre Dame, and I couldn't go into any of them because I had to stay with all the equipment and stuff. So everyone would be
Oh,
like, "Hey, we're filming here. Just have fun, Arvid." I feel like, okay. So there it was, just like on Paris
yeah.
streets, just
And you're
like
like, this is
yeah.
bullshit.
It was sucks. It sucks. But I guess it got my mind spinning, and I think that's I had the idea for Rex Mundi, which is the first thing that I got published.
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then so I am curious about after Rex Mundi, which we'll skip over some of that for now. We've talked about it on a little bit on other streams and
yeah,
stuff. But then you'd written the novel, which was like the Band of the Crow,
hmm,
and had some issues with publishing, which we all are familiar with. We can kind
yeah,
of guess even what
hmm,
happened there. And then there's a point of where you kind of like give up in a sense, or like use it self cancel a little bit, or kind of try some different tacks and
right,
everything. But I'm a
right.
little bit curious just about the process of that transition of going from it being a novel that you're trying to get published to turning it into a comic. What was that like?
Yeah, like I don't know about you, but just something inside of me. This is just me personally, like my personal journey. I think of myself as being a recovering progressive or a recovering leftist. I think of myself as like I'm an Alcoholics Anonymous or something like that. I was really, really deep into the cult.
Yeah.
I don't know about you. Maybe we have talked about this. And forgive me if you don't want to talk about this. We can move on and talk about something else. Of course, of course, of course. Something snapped inside of me election night in 2016. I don't know why. I don't know what happened, but it something snapped
Yeah.
like decisively. Um, it was the
Well,
most
because you see the fervent like hatred for half the country for the
yeah,
other half. I noticed.
right.
I remember that seeing that. I
I
think
read
that's
right.
similar with me, kind of seeing.
Is it really? Yeah, I'd love to hear about your, I don't know,
I'm trying to
experience
remember.
of
Mine
like,
was just a little before that, and
was it?
because like some of the stuff I was following, I think before that might have been James Damore at Google. Do you remember that?
I
Was that
do.
before Trump?
I do.
But there was like, yeah, there was a lot of that kind of stuff happen. I was just like, what is even? And then Trump was doing his thing against the Republicans, so it wasn't even against Democrats. And that's when it was me and my friend. We were like, we think he's funny. Like we're
Right.
Democrats, whatever. We're just kind of watching, and we're like, dude,
Right.
he's funny. And I said that to my dad, and my dad has since gotten cool, but I kind of desensitized him a little bit. but
Yeah.
he was very like, this is what everyone was like. They had the Pavlovian response, like were trained to
Yeah.
like, for some reason they were like threatened by the
Right.
antivirus thing coming in or whatever. But my dad got like teary eyed that we had thought Trump was funny, and he's like, I can't
You know,
believe you would say that. Like, because to him he's existential threat for some reason.
right.
I'm like, dude, he's literally funny. Like you aren't seeing what I see, like the real, what I picture is the real world.
It is like parallel realities now. Like we are just not seeing the same things that they're seeing. This is fascinating. Did you know this? I took a look at the demographics. Do you know what has the oldest viewership of all the news networks? It's
What?
not Fox News. It's MSNBC. It's
Oh,
overwhelmingly like 65 and older. Isn't that interesting?
yeah.
It's
Yeah,
something about boomers.
they do the thing where they like
Right.
addicted to the news. They have it on in the background. That was one thing I
Right.
kind of snapped my dad out of. He quit watching the news, and I was like,
Good
I
for
think that's
him.
good for you. All the news does is train you to what to be mad at, what to get the
Right.
Pavlovian response. Like,
You look at these right. You look at these Tesla dealership protests. They're all like geriatric morons. It's really sad to see what's happened to our parents' generation. They are completely credulous. There's just total consciousness capture by MSNBC. Actually, Fox News has the youngest demographic. So that whole
yeah,
thing about like an angry old man watching Fox News, it's not true. All the angry old men are watching MSNBC. They're
yeah.
watching Rachel Maddow.
I'm
And
curious what like yeah the youngest generations then because then even like I guess my generation is the millennials. And
yeah,
I think they're pretty liberal, or if they're pretty bad. They were cancel culture a lot. I think they
right.
were the ones, and I think they were the ones who were like the Me Too weaponization or
Right.
whatever, like
Ah,
beyond
man,
that kind of.
I
And
feel
so
bad for you, Parrot. Yeah, the millennial, that sucks. It's awful. Yeah, that is like ground zero. Yeah, it's
yeah,
awful.
and it is
Awful.
a bummer, yeah, because it is
Mm.
sometimes it's like I don't know, it is like hard to like just even make friends or whatever. But
No,
in my age
I
group, it's
feel for
real.
you. I see so many like millennials. It's funny. Admiral Wackass mentioned jujitsu. I see so many like young, guys younger than me, men like millennial men. Just it sucked for me when I was going. God, for millennials, it's just freaking awful.
Yeah.
I see it, man. I see it there.
But
Not
yeah,
easy.
so but just the younger generation, I feel like they are cool too, or they're bouncing back, or it's some of it's
Yes,
just like an awareness and even like a sense of humor about the world or whatever.
one hundred
Whereas,
percent. No, it's great. I have hope for not the millennials, but I think that there's going to be a reaction against this stuff. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, if
Um,
it's not like kind of already happening,
right,
it's
right,
weird. It played out in the arts too, but that it was there was like yeah, like audience captured liberals making weird propaganda. That was one thing. But
right,
then the kind of the editorial top down side, they were curating in that direction. So it's like
right.
two negatives at once. And definitely like indies, were kind of a bastion of kind of out there doing their thing.
Yeah,
And that's the issue there is like getting that quality because it is funny. It's like you'll have liberals like they may be brainwashed, but they can be really good at what they do or whatever. Sometimes they get so good that they can't help but make good art, even though they whatever hate it or whatever.
yeah. I will like. I mean, you should listen to some of the music I listen to. Like, I listen to some like really politically offensive music. I'm into like neo folk music and like some of the heavy metal. Like, but you just separate the art from the artist. I mean, I listen to Rage Against the Machine. I think it's great riffage, but I totally disavow the politics. Totally
Yeah.
disavow.
Yep. Yeah. I like separating the art from the
Yeah,
artist for
right. I
sure.
think you have to. That's like one of the like divine commandments. I don't believe in cultural relativism. I don't believe in aesthetic relativism. I mean, that's just like an iron law of aesthetics. Just separate
Yeah.
the art from the artist. Yeah.
There's a little bit of like enjoyment from that of maybe it's you know what it was it called being smug because you sort of being enlightened or whatever, but I like liking the art of people that I might not like in real
No,
life or
totally.
whatever.
Totally. The worst music is like that I listen to is like neo folk music. Like that was some of that stuff will get you canceled. Like that is just like it's like the politics are like disavow, 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 disavow. But the music is beautiful, so I
Yeah,
don't really care.
cool.
Yeah.
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 We're at
Yeah.
59
So
minutes. We'll kind of wind down, but not in a speedy hurry here. But just so there's 25 people watching.
nice.
Everyone, just definitely this is a all main thing to get the awareness of Band of the Crow and let people know Arvid a little bit more because yeah, Arvid is destined for great things. He's already kind of a celebrity within our circles
Yeah,
here with this
me
great
too, Pear.
launch. Yes, and maybe it's gone up
Nice.
one or two. It's really
Awesome.
close to 11,000. What if it
Yeah,
passed 11,000 while we were live? Does anyone
that'd be
want to be
very
the?
cool. But
It's $9 away. You know, I
$9.
had a campaign. I think it was last year,
Mhm.
and it was funny. Whenever it would get to this number, I would get a mysterious backer would back for nothing, but it would be for $9 and claim no reward. And but
Uh-huh.
then it would just be at 11,000. But it
Uh-huh.
was at any. It was like someone with OCD. Like whenever it was at a number that felt weird, they would back for like $4, get it to that number. And
Okay, that's
they did
kind of
it
cool.
5 different
Yeah.
times for a total of like $40, claimed
Wow.
nothing, but then only to get
Uh-huh.
the number to where they wanted it. I
Wow.
don't know who they were, and I think they were
Uh,
doing this on other campaigns too.
oh, okay. That's
So
kind of
yeah,
cool. That's
yeah,
kind of
just
cool.
someone out there, a folk
Hmm.
hero. Is there a folk hero amongst us
Definitely.
backing
I
nine
think you're
dollars?
kind of a folk hero. I honestly do, Pear. I think you and me both. Like I said, it's been an intense few years. There's been some sort of little setbacks, shall we say, in our little corner of the universe. But I'm also amazed at how many good people are out there too. People are there are a lot of
Yeah,
folk heroes out there. Yeah.
I'm
And
a
you're a
neo
folk
folk
hero.
hero.
Yeah. Yeah, check out
Yeah.
Death in June. That's like he kind of started it. That's I don't know if you're familiar, Pear, but
No, I
they're
check out some
awesome.
of that. I'm always looking for something to throw on in the background while I'm
Hmm.
drawing or whatever. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
yeah, that's sweet.
Hmm.
Yeah, Mark Miller asked me when I was on Miller Time, he was like, he's like, you have a big following of people who really root for you. How did you do that?
Yeah.
And I was thinking like, you know what, surprisingly, it's not exactly being nice. Like being nice doesn't help as much as you might think, although
Yeah.
maybe you kind of want to do that too. But because there could be a million people who are nice, like it
No,
doesn't,
indeed.
nobody cares.
Yeah.
But it is like you got to make books that like people kind of respond to and like, and maybe have a little batting average where they can start to trust you, you know.
Right.
Um,
Absolutely.
and you got
Absolutely.
that too, yeah. So it's cool. We're building up
Right.
some respect around
Right.
these parts.
Right. That is the game plan. That is the game plan. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Alex
yeah.
Verby, you got to rock the boat a little. Yeah, yeah,
Indeed. Indeed you do. Indeed. And that's why we're
yeah,
here. But to your question, I just realized the problems with the novel. When you're on the hamster wheel, it's just, just when you're in a cult, the instant you realize you're in a cult, you're no longer in a cult.
yeah.
Congratulations. The instant you realize you're in an abusive relationship, you are no longer in an abusive relationship. So I just was like beating myself up over the novel, just blaming myself for it. And that's where the number went
I
down.
know. I just saw it go down. Dang
Why?
it.
Why?
There's another folk villain out
Stop it.
there who waits for it to get to a
Stop
really
it.
important number, then refunds.
No.
The number
Okay.
didn't go down, but just the total. The Kickstarter's like, sorry, we added
Uh,
it up wrong.
sorry. Sorry.
Sometimes they convert to the wrong currency or
Right.
something.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
glitches. But
So
yeah.
sad.
Okay, we're still waiting for someone, but now it's a little higher if anyone savior wants to come
That's
by and give a
exactly
little.
right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um.
But yeah, you snap
Anyway.
out of it and then that helps
Right.
the
But it's great. I
writer.
stopped blaming myself for all the failures I had with the novel. Did you know this? That the publishing industry is 78% white women.
Yeah.
It's
Oh yeah, that's
shocking.
crazy. I know
Shocking.
someone they were talking about that on Twitter the other day. They're like, where are all like just the like genre fiction? It doesn't exist. And
Oh,
everyone's like, it's all men and it's all in indie publishing.
right. This is shocking. There was a big trial. This is actually in the Biden administration. I think, what was it? Simon and Schuster wanted to buy Random House or the other way around. At any rate, the government filed a suit. Yeah, white chicks. Yeah, no, 100%. The government filed an antitrust suit and won. And the stuff that came out as a result of that trial, like in like the evidence of the trial that came out about the publishing industry, was totally shocking. Totally shocking.
Yeah.
Talking
Because
about scientific.
it'll get so corrupt that they don't care anymore, and then it'll get like double corrupt.
Right. Well, I call it it's the author, agent, publisher, librarian, school board pipeline. I think this is what happens is that people write these books that no one wants to read, and they pass them on to agents who read them for political purposes. They go on to publishers who publish them for political purposes, and then they get bought by librarians and they got bought by school boards. So
Oh
no
yeah.
one's reading these books. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's
right.
true.
You should see,
The
right,
indies have more readership. Yeah,
right.
that's crazy.
You should
Yeah.
see the local library here. The children's section of our local library is stocked with these like political agitprop that absolutely nobody wants to read. I mean, it's an entire building just full of garbage, just burned the whole freaking thing down. Not that I approve of burning books, but you know what I mean. Um, yeah. But the best part was I could just stop blaming myself. Here's an amazing fact from 2014 to now. Genre fiction, like kind of like what we do, science fiction, fantasy. Genre fiction publishing has decreased by 75%. 75% gone,
Yeah.
gone. They're not even trying anymore. They're not
Yeah.
even trying.
You know what else is crazy about that? Just the way you would imagine is like, okay, someone could come along and make a lot of money, if they wanted to
Yes,
bring that
right,
back.
exactly. But this is what I have discovered about this whole woke thing about the money is not what motivates people.
Yeah.
Money is not what motivates people. People do not care about money. They do not
Yeah.
care. It's not the most important thing. There's this great book I read called The Gift of Fear. It's written mainly for women, but it's an interesting book. He has this concept he calls the dignity domino. And says that if you're dealing with someone, you're for an intense negotiation, or you think someone is a little unhinged, always make sure that you let them preserve their sense of dignity. Because someone who feels like their dignity has been violated or compromised, they will do anything to restore their sense of dignity, up to and including going to jail for the rest of their lives. They don't
Oh
care.
yeah.
They don't care. They will pay any price to restore their sense of dignity. Yeah.
Is that similar to like saving face in Eastern
Yes.
cultures?
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. Exactly that.
Yeah.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
Exactly
That
that.
is useful and interesting when it comes up or whatever.
No, it's a very interesting book. It's a very interesting book because a lot of the predatory and abusive tactics that he talks about, forced teaming, that's a very interesting one. You see a lot of that in
Oh, publishing.
yeah, well, in publishing and just in politics now, especially on the left. And it is not a leftist thing. It definitely happens on the right too, but
Yeah.
obviously now the problems are predominantly on the
Yeah.
left.
I
No.
like those kind of books. I'm still reading
Yeah.
a couple books that you recommended a
Oh,
few
really?
months ago. I'm reading them pretty slowly, but I'm reading the Percival one from like the 1200s,
Oh, isn't that
the German
interesting?
one.
I love
Yeah,
that book. Yeah.
it's great. It is
Yeah.
great. It's I read it slow, but I'm like, this is honestly not boring. Like it's a really fun
Yeah,
tale or whatever.
it's a very, very powerful story. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Um,
I got the Irish fairy tale one too, which I'm kind of not reading right now
oh,
because I'm reading Percival, but I read a
okay.
few of those and they were
Uh,
great too.
this one right here.
Yeah. What's
Yeah.
it called?
Meeting the Other Crowd. This is a great book. This was very inspirational for Band of the Crow. Look at that
Oh,
guy.
cool.
That is an
Yeah, yeah, I know.
Irishman.
That's the right.
That dude
See,
right
that
there.
guy couldn't get published in today's.
Right. No, right.
Uh,
Exactly. Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Um,
Real quick too. You know what's funny is we've talked this whole time. We haven't done a pitch for Band of the Crow, so let's do that
oh,
real fast, and then we'll kind of get out of here.
nice. Oh, I'm back to one. I'm back now. Thank you. I'm back to the number
Oh
two.
yeah,
Yeah.
cool. They're messing with us, but
Mhm.
yeah, we've got $9. We got a few minutes. Does anyone want back $9?
Yeah, $9, $9. No, thank you. It's funny. We're definitely preaching to the choir here, so I definitely appreciate it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We got a new round of Facebook ads going. Our first video ads. Hopefully that'll work. Facebook. Oh, good. If you ever want a crash course, I'm happy to give you one. But
Oh yeah,
yeah, don't do what
definitely.
I did. Don't do what I did. Oh my
Yeah.
god. Oh my god. Yeah. Yeah.
So
So
tell me like yeah,
okay.
the like
Yes.
the story.
Right. So I was definitely thinking about it's just like a lot of things came together. I had the idea for this story. I will never forget it. Talking about election night, I will never forget um that moment of what like Trump won. I forget what it was, but it became clear that he was going to win. I will just never forget that feeling. I will also never forget the feeling I had in a Mexican restaurant in Times Square in 2005. That was the genesis of the Band of the Crow.
Oh, okay.
And I started getting into heavy metal music. I was just in, there was this it's not there anymore. I think it's called Chevy's. I hope it's not there. They had like mariachi bands going around, like playing around. I'm like just it's cool, but like I'm not certain music. I'm not into like country music. No thanks. Rap. No thanks. Mariachi music, like just like not my cup of tea. So I was trying to get away from it, and one of the guys, it was a comic book person, and he was listening. Brian, he was listening to this. I said, "What are you listening to?" He said, "It's metal. Do you want to listen?" And I was sort of looked down on heavy metal. And he said, "So, but I put the earbud in, and again, it was just this like mystical experience. Ever
Cool.
since then, I've been like totally into heavy metal. I don't know what it was. And I was just able to like tune out the mariachi music. I think it was like Five Finger Death Punch or so. It's like, which isn't my, they're awesome. They're great. It's like not the first thing I listened to, but I just got
Yeah.
super into heavy metal then. Yeah. So there's a genre called doom metal, which isn't as bad as it sounds. People who don't like it call it hippie metal,
Okay.
but I love it. I am super into doom metal, like High on
And is
Fire.
that like tied to fantasy kind of? Or
Yeah, very much so. Very, very
okay.
much so. Yeah.
I noticed that metal has that, and that's actually a lot of fun aspect of it for sure.
Yeah. No, I love it. And I'm reminded again, there's not as much overlap as you'd think in like comic books and heavy metal. I'm just sort of constantly reminded of that. But yeah, but that's what doom metal is like. Metal, like I don't know, like new metal or um power metal. There are certain genres that just it can get very overproduced, in my opinion, and it can get a little bit self-important. So that's what doom metal is. It's about like going back to the original sound from bands like, I don't know, Pentagram or Black Sabbath or something like that. That was very much the idea for the band The Crow. Going back to the source material. Tolkien, I love Tolkien, but every fantasy story I read is just like a pastiche of Tolkien, in my
Yeah.
opinion. It's just kind of like, and in my opinion, trope is just a nice way of saying cliche, in my
Yeah.
opinion. Just like, ugh. So there was actually there were two generations of writers before Tolkien. So that's what interested me. Going back to sources. This is from Rex Mundi. I got interested in reading medieval romances like Parzival or like Sir
Yeah.
Gawain and the Green Knight or something like that. And also reading the not Tolkien, obviously Tolkien. You can't get away from Tolkien. Obviously, Tolkien is heavily influences the Band of the Crow. I'd
It's
be lying and
everything.
say
It's
that.
like
Right,
pre-Tolkien and
right,
post-Tolkien, but it is
right,
funny that
right,
literally everything to the point where we don't even know what came before. We can't
right.
imagine like
Exactly.
wait fantasy like where it's not like what like elves and orcs and what
Right.
I don't know.
Right. So it was amazing discovering these writers, people like Lord Dunsany or William Morris or who's the other one? Oh my God, William Hope Hodgson. He might be my favorite writer of all time. Um, the stories are really wild and different and interesting. So that was very much the inspiration for the story. Um,
Cool.
the idea
Some of
behind this,
that, yeah.
yeah,
Oh, real quick, some of
yeah,
that is like what night. It's like Tarzan era stuff, like
yes.
serials kind of
Hmm.
and stuff
Yeah, that's
like
right.
that.
It's called Edwardian. It's usually called the Edward. It's after Victorian, but before World War I. So it's called it was King Edward of England. It's called Edwardian fiction. So a lot of my favorite illustrators are from that time too. So
Yeah,
Arthur Rackham, Edmund Dulac, Gustave Doré, people like that. Yeah.
cool. Yeah, and that this could almost feel like I could think of things like even if John Carter of Mars was more of a fantasy thing,
Right.
you get
Right.
away from like you kind of step around these tropes and cliches.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
yeah, that kind of stuff. Yeah,
Exactly. Got Edgar Rice Burroughs is a great writer. Those Warlords of Mars, oh man, those are such good. I'm a huge Edgar Rice Burroughs fan. So, yeah. So all those things influenced it. The big idea with the story is that it's, this is what like it's a trope where the elves and the dwarves or whatever they're fading away and they are on the verge of extinction if they're not already extinct. So
yeah,
I turned that around on its head. In this world, it's not the elves, it's not the dwarves that are on the verge of extinction. It's us. It's the humans.
yeah.
And that is where the story came from on kind of a foundational level. Yeah.
Yeah, because it mentions that it's like ice giants have
That's
taken
right.
over the world almost, kind of.
Yeah. That's right. Something bad happened earlier. And like it's so bad people don't have a clear understanding. Obviously, I know what happened, but people in this world don't have a clear idea of what happened. And to the extent that they do, it's heavily filtered through the things that they believe and their perceptions about the world.
Oh yeah. See, that's how you know you're a good writer. What you just said there.
Yeah,
A
thank
lot
you.
of people don't say that. And a lot of people would
Right.
just be like, because then this, blah, blah," and
Right,
then
I
they'd
know.
have one
Right.
character
Oh
who
my
like
God.
says it.
Right, right. Boop, boop. You cannot like I call it like a shotgunning world building. Like you cannot like shove a shotgun of like a double barreled shotgun of world building, like ram it down someone's throat. That's a bad idea. You cannot do that to people. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Woo.
funny.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Mm.
I've seen this is a slight change of subject a little bit, but sometimes people get it into the problem where they'll create like a binder of world building and then they
Yeah.
have no story. All they
No,
have is like an
exactly. Yeah.
encyclopedia.
That's one of the things that I found. Actually, the thing about the Frost Giants came with this. I had done all this world building. That's exactly what happened to me. I did all this world building, and I realized I hated it. I hated the story I was writing. And then I had this idea, wait a minute, I could destroy it all. What if Frost Giants came in and just freaking destroyed
Oh,
everything?
that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. And that would be so freeing. And then you could
Oh,
tell a real
oh,
simple, actually with Percival, because I have my Percival project and you've read some of it. We've chatted a little bit
yeah.
about that. So it's kind of all over the place. And I have multiple like stories that I'm sort of outlining of what it could be. And then eventually might try and do all of them, but they're various lengths. Some are episodic, some are longer. And so it's all this one document. I'm reading over it this morning because I've been busy with other stuff, but I'm like, I'm going to take today and like try and catch up on the Percival stuff and see if I can make some progress on it.
Oh,
And
nice.
there was one idea that was written that it was like a one-off, but it was a point where Percival doesn't have the grail. He's looking for it,
Mhm.
but a nun has it at this point, and she
Oh,
started her own like hospital in kind of in this zone of where this war is happening.
mhm,
And she's like running this independent hospital, kind of secretly using the grail just to kind of do good.
mhm.
And Percival shows up and he's like, "Hey, I actually need that grail." And
Wow.
she's like, "Well, you
Oh,
can't have it because I'm like
right,
helping." And he's like, "Okay, well, I'll help you. Hang around and help you for a little bit, but I eventually do need it. But
right,
we'll figure that out later." And
right,
then, like whatever, like warlords hear the grail's there, so they're gonna come and
right.
take it. And then Percival has to help her fight them. So like like pretty super simple Western plot.
Yeah.
Um, Anyway, so I was like, oh shit, that's all there. That was just one little episode idea. I'm like, that is more like a really simple Western that could be like an actual full movie. So I
Definitely.
might try and write that one as the simple, but that one's fun because yeah, there's no world building, no explanation why Percival has the girl, doesn't have the girls looking for it, who has it, anything like, because
Right,
I have all that stuff, but it
right.
was one little nugget. I'm like, that one almost feels like the most interesting. That's
No, that's
most
great.
simple too.
That's great. Like Clark Ashton Smith, he's one of my favorite writers. He's one of his. He wrote he sort of like what you're saying. He wrote cycles of stories. Like one is called the Zothique cycle, and it's so cool because he'll set it in one place, and you know the name of the place, and it's like a lush jungle, and then in another setting, it's a wasteland, it's a desert, and you're just like, oh wow, a lot
Yeah,
of time has transpired, but he never explains it to you. Just like you're saying
cool.
with Parzival not having the Grail. Yeah,
Yeah, that's why
yeah,
I liked it because I realized, yeah, it's like, what if his search for the Grail to go and get it and bring it back? It was like 40 years.
right.
So, and it kind of that fucked up the story once he gets back too, because then
Mhm.
Camelot, he was too late basically, but so it
Oh,
changes the story
that's
a little bit.
powerful. I love that. Yeah, everything's a ruin. Well, it's very much like the story of him waking up in the castle of Anfortis. You know, he goes to bed in a beautiful, luxurious palace, and he wakes up and it's all in ruins.
Yeah,
It's
that I
one of my
think I just
favorite
read that.
scenes.
I think I just
Yeah,
read that part. Yeah,
yeah, it's one of my favorite
because
scenes.
is that when he doesn't ask the question?
Right,
That was the first
exactly,
time.
exactly,
Yeah, and that is
exactly.
because the guy before he gets advice as a young man. You're like, honestly, that's kind of is it good advice or bad advice? But
Right,
the first knight he meets is like, don't ask so many questions, boy.
right, right,
And
exactly.
so
Yeah,
then he never asks another question
right, right, right,
for like the rest of his life until like he gets totally screwed for that
right,
because that was the one
right,
time. And that what's fun about that too is like they're like, you didn't ask the question,
right,
and you're kind of like, well, what is the question? And like
right,
the question is literally any question. Just be
right.
polite to your host and start a
Right. Right,
conversation.
just ask him what's wrong. Exactly.
Yeah,
Right. What's wrong? Is there anything right? Are you
yeah,
okay? Right. Are you okay? Are you
yeah,
okay? Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
It's not like a
Right.
magic words
Right.
that have to
Right.
be
Right.
said or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. No. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Some of that comes up as like chivalry. The way it is in that book is kind of inspiring and fun. It's a little cultural difference than what I'm used to too, but it is like similar to like politeness kind of
Right. No.
well,
Definitely.
some of it.
Definitely. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
cool.
No, I'm looking forward to that too. It is a really great idea. Pear.
Yeah,
Thank you for
thanks.
showing it to me too. I really appreciate that. Thank you for listening too. I hope I wasn't ungracious with my comments, but I just
No, that
thank
was
you so much.
perfect. It was fun because you gave me a little taste of like the real whatever. It's almost like I was in
Yeah, it's
publishing.
right.
Yeah.
You better hear if it's better you hear it from me than from someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. For
Let
people,
me tell
because
you.
yeah, just for the chat, like a lot of it was typos, but yeah, Arvid was like, I'm not even going to read this until you fix these typos.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. And you're like, but fix it and I'll read it. And I was like,
Right.
okay, okay, okay.
Yeah.
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 Because at
Just
first I was like, wait, is he mad? And then you weren't mad. I was
no, 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 not right.
like,
Not in the
but yeah,
slightest.
and that's fun. That's good to know. Like everyone should, there's nothing wrong with a little extra care on your creations.
Right. Indeed. Indeed. Yeah. No,
Um,
right, exactly. If you don't care, no one else will. It's just you want to send a message to people that like, I take this seriously. I care
yeah,
about what I'm doing.
especially yeah,
Yeah.
when you're
Yeah.
interfacing with other people, that's when it
Right.
really becomes.
Right. Orwell says that. He says that's why cliches are bad. Like if a cliche or like if a trope or a cliche comes up in your writing, what you're saying to the reader is, I don't care about this, and neither should you.
Yeah,
That is the only message. Yeah. Floating around
yeah.
with the passive crowd. Right.
If
Right.
I would, if Percival ever had a last name, it actually could be Crow. That sort of
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
sounds okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, cool,
Yeah.
cool. Well, yeah. So kind of wrapping up, everyone, Band of the Crow.
Yeah. Oh,
Hey,
hey,
look at
that is
that.
brilliant. Thank you, everybody. That is just lovely. Lovely.
Yeah, but golf clap and thank you,
Yeah,
everyone.
golf clap. And seriously, well done, you. These prices will not be repeated. So yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
good job.
these are the deals that everyone's getting an opportunity, and I think people are responding. I mean, yeah, these are great numbers. What's the line in The Wolf of Wall Street? He goes, "Those are rookie numbers. We got to get those
Oh yeah,
numbers up."
that's right. That's
But
right.
like
I
these
love
are,
that movie. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I
Right.
couldn't
Yeah.
say that to I said that to, I had a guest on last week, and I said
Uh-huh.
it to him, and I was like,
Uh-huh.
"Is that mean? I'm just joking."
Yeah.
But
No. No.
but yeah, for this one, it's doing really good. So
Yeah.
this is what those that guy wouldn't say that.
Right. That's right. Yeah. No. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. It's just a comment from Captain Goodnight. Eastman and Laird put scenes of Northampton, which is where I lived. I live like. Oh, I should mention this. I did some Warlord of Mars comics. I did some Edgar Rice Burroughs Mars comics.
Oh, wait, you wrote some of those? Is that what you
Yeah,
said?
for Dynamite. Mhm.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
great.
so
It was
yeah, I
a lot of
didn't
fun.
even know that, and that is totally in your realm of that interest and expertise, and it does dovetail into this. That's a lot
Yeah,
of fun.
yeah. So that's one thing. Someone asked a question about if I live in Northampton, Massachusetts, which is where Peter Laird still lives in the area. Kevin Eastman does not. But they asked if I put Western Massachusetts scenery into this. Yes, I do. There's this dramatic basaltic. It's like an outcropping of igneous rock. It runs all the way from here down to New Haven, Connecticut. This is very striking red cliff of this like red basaltic trap rock. So you can kind of see that sometimes in
Cool.
some of the backgrounds of the Band of the Crow.
Oh, that's
So,
awesome.
yeah.
I love that. Yeah, I love those personal details, and we'll see where the deer antler comes up too. And
Yeah, you
actually,
will.
there's a lot that I just want to see. You even pitched at when you're on Creative Block. You kind of it's set up in book one that we were reading, but it's their test that they're taking.
Yeah.
And you could even kind of pitched it like it's not exactly magical. It's like just a hard trial, but if anyone who makes it, you have the blessing of the goddess.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, I love that. Like logic of that is like really simple and
Right.
fun. And that is
Right.
like sort of not a trope, although it could be one day. That could be like something that
Oh
a lot
yeah,
of people
totally. Totally.
but yeah.
But it's like it's judicial combat. I mean, this is how the people used to settle their differences. Like you'll fight, and if Odin, if your cause is just, Odin will favor you, and you'll win
Yeah.
the fight.
Yeah. That stuff is they did stuff like pick which hand has the rock, and they say right
That's
or
right.
left, and they're like, well, you were wrong, and you would have been right if you were innocent. So sorry.
Right. Right. There's all these terms. So it's called trial by ordeal. Right. They did things like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. This is random, but you remember in what's the Mel Gibson Apocalypto? They make them run for the forest and they just throw spears at them while they run.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. If you make it, there's this book. Do I still have it? I think it's called Extraordinary Popular Delusions and the Madness of Crowds. It's famous because he catalogs the first 3 financial bubbles in history. And like a lot of finance guys read it. just
Is
for that
that
chapter.
is this Rene Girard? You're saying?
No, the guy's name is Charles McKay, I think. It's his famous book. But anyways, that's just one chapter in the book. I think he has a whole chapter in the book on it's just about human irrationality, how people are just not as rational as they think, as they claim to be. There's the chapter on financial bubbles is extremely interesting. I think he also does a chapter. This would be great for Percival, actually, on medieval justice. Exactly things like that.
Yeah.
Exactly things like that. Do I still have that book somewhere? That would be phenomenal.
Yeah.
For
No, that's cool. I'll add
Percival.
that to the list of research. 'Cause it's
Yeah.
funny, yeah, when I haven't had an idea like that ever really where it's a little more like a TV show or a long series where like
Right.
so many ideas you just plug them in and it works and
Right.
you could do your version of it. Or
Yeah.
whatever.
I'll see if it's in that book, because that would be right up your alley, I think.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, everyone, thanks for being here. Brian Kreisgau. I think me and Brian, he's the next dude I'm promoting next week. So me and Brian.
Oh,
will be
that's
on next
great.
week.
That's
Another
great.
great guy to talk to.
Yeah.
Bancroft, thanks for being here. Snuggie.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Awesome.
passed 11,000. I'm stoked about that.
I'm just really thank you for all the everyone. This is just an awesome it really, I mean, the word community kind of makes me nervous, but it really is great to be a part of this, whatever it is. If it's not a community, it's still great to be a part of it. And if it is,
Yeah.
so
We
be
need
it.
a word that doesn't have all the baggage.
Right, that doesn't have communist.
I was like going to say a
Yeah,
cult.
I know,
No,
right?
that's even worse.
Right, exactly, a death cult. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
All right. Well, I'm
All
going to
right.
click the button. Hang out for just a second, or we'll chat a little bit behind the scenes.
No, that sounds great.
Yeah. But yeah,
I'll tell you all my
everyone,
real
thanks for
thoughts.
being here.
Yeah.
Yeah, check out Band of the Crow, of course.
Thanks,
It's
Charlie.
amazing.
Yeah.